Hey, Sel, the question that we've got today is my biggest challenge is lack of flexibility, weight gain, lack of upper body strength, and tiredness. A little bit of everything
A little bit of everything.
all rolled into one. Look, I think the first thing to say to this is focus on one thing at a time and build
Mm.
some momentum. That's really it. So if you build some small, consistent steps, this is just the perfect approach to being able to, make some long-term changes in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So, if flexibility is the highest priority for you, then focus on flexibility. If, overcoming the tiredness is, the problem, and I would happen to say that's got to be the first thing that you've got to focus on,
Mm. Yeah.
because if you're not feeling like you've got energy and that you're recovered properly, then it's going to be difficult to do any type of exercise, whether that be flexibility, whether that be strength. And what's going to happen is it's also going to decrease your willpower as well too. So if you are trying to lose a little bit of weight, you're pushing it up against a wall straight away.
Mm. Mm. I think for me it would be the weight gain, because the weight gain is, I think, will improve sleep. It will improve flexibility.
Right.
It will improve strength. And we notice ourselves, it's when we have our clients come in, they're
Yeah.
coming in on two categories. We run our 28-day Fueled Up program. So they may come in and do that program, which is our nutrition program.
Yeah.
And then because they're losing that weight, it's then overflowing into their workouts. And we notice their workouts are getting stronger and faster and better.
Yeah.
And then the other category is when you come in on the fitness, it then sort of overflows and you go, oh, I'm going to start eating better. I'm going to,
Yes.
our thing at the moment has been protein. Our point to our ladies has been protein with every meal. So, I'm going to start eating better. I'll have protein for breakfast, and then that flows over into lunch.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it would be probably weight gain, and then we know that the sleep's going to improve.
All right. Well, let's delve in a little bit more then to weight gain. And you've alluded to it already. Make your mantra
Yeah,
protein first. It's as simple
protein.
as that. So I was talking to Wendy yesterday, one of our clients, and she said, I'm getting all this crepey skin, and I just don't feel like my muscles are where they used to be. And I said, well, number one, it's consistency in that strength workout that you're doing. And like she had highlighted that she wasn't coming as often as she was. And I said, number two, what's your protein like? She said, oh, my protein's really, really good. Well, Sal, when I asked her what was breakfast, lunch, and dinner, what I discovered was she's probably eating maybe half of the minimum requirement. So in her mind, she's eating lots of protein because she has started focusing on it, but it's just
It's still not enough.
It's still not enough. Yeah.
Not enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I just think, put the protein on your plate first, eat the protein, and then worry about the rest of it.
And go back to basic protein. There's so many products in the supermarket, protein bars and protein this and protein that.
Yes.
Go back to your basic protein. Because some of those products, yes, there's 20 grams of protein in it, but there's 40 grams of carbohydrates.
Well, yeah, like if you go and buy like a mint chocolate protein bar, yum, right? And then you go and get a mint chocolate, turn them over, have a look at them, compare them. The only difference is that this one's got higher protein, but everything else is exactly the same.
Exactly the
so
same.
You're just having a lovely little candy bar.
Yeah.
So yeah, what you're really saying there is, eat the real foods. And if you can't
Mm,
eat the real foods, then yeah, protein powders are great. They're still processed, but they're great if you're not getting enough protein. And let's
protein,
face
yeah.
it, Sel, as we're aging, we do need more protein. And we've seen this firsthand with Kay. One of the things that I've had her focusing on is just protein over the last, 4 weeks? And,
Yeah,
just the body fat, the breakdown of her body composition has been amazing. She really
yes,
hasn't changed anything other than focusing on protein.
yeah, yeah. And there's it doesn't just have to be chicken and salmon.
Oh God, no.
There's turkey mince. You can make turkey meatballs, turkey mince meatballs.
Yeah. Yum.
There's just so much basic protein out there that you can absolutely have something different with every meal with your protein, but
Yeah.
still keeping it that whole
Yeah.
basic protein, if that makes
And then
sense.
and then the next thing that you would want to
It's
add is,
Friday.
make sure you got fiber, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but also the variety, which I think is what you were saying there, is,
Yes.
have lots of different things, because, that way you're going to get different nutrients into your body. And your body's
Yeah.
going to respond differently to different types of nutrients as well,
Yeah.
too.
As
So,
trainers, and we see a lot, or especially on social media, and when people are losing weight, their go-to is chicken, brown rice, and broccoli.
oh, yes.
Your meals don't have to be that when you're increasing your protein.
No, definitely
Yeah.
not. Definitely not. Yeah, you can make lots of yummy things. Yeah. And we've got lots of yummy recipes as well, too. So, I think that's, just a couple of tweaks. And I think that's what we want to focus on here, because there is so much to cover
Much.
off. Yeah. Let's go to sleep next, shall we? So that tiredness.
I
What was
don't know
that look
about that.
for?
I don't know about sleep.
Well, that's because you're menopausal and you've
Yes.
got that disrupted sleep going on. And look, ladies, that is quite normal. That can happen. What you want to do is tune into your body when you're menopausal, like what type of foods, what type of drinks are really changing how you sleep overnight time. And that's what I found for myself, when I ate certain foods, that's when I was like toss, turn, toss, turn. And so the more I could stick with real foods that my tummy loved, the better off I was. The more I drank water, which I think we forgot water when we were talking about weight loss. That's really
Yes.
super important, that we do drink enough
Yeah.
water as well too, particularly as we're going through menopause. We can start to feel quite dehydrated. Because there is so much going on with our body at that time as well too. So just, getting a nice sleep environment as well too, setting it up so it's cooler when you go to bed. I think that's really important if you're going through menopause.
Yes.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
have that room nice, and crispy clean sheets are lovely as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just having some type of wind down process, because the last thing that you want to do is be tired, watch a little bit of telly and fall asleep. And then what happens is the minute you get up to go to bed, you wake up again. Because one of the things
Yeah.
that may have happened is you haven't cleaned your teeth. So you put the light on to clean your teeth. So now you've got all the bright lights there. That's going to wake you up as well too. So
Yeah.
yeah, just having a nice routine to get to sleep. Do you have any type of wind down process at all, Sal?
Not so much wind down process, but
Mm.
deep sleep meditation music.
Yes, that's
The
another good one.
delta waves. Yeah.
Yeah,
That definitely helps me relax.
yeah. And one of the things that is science-backed as far as getting good quality sleep is to get, that the sunlight, the light first thing in the morning into your eyes. So, getting outside, maybe doing some stretching, or maybe going out for a nice little gentle walk or something like that. That can be very helpful as well too. So, any tips on sleeping other than those few things?
No, just that I have found delta waves has been very good for myself.
I know that I always use them. Now I just sleep like, when I was going through menopause, I used that, and I did do a wind down process, so a little bit of deep breathing and whatnot. But I found that now that I'm through it and I've recreated better sleeping patterns, I'm much better at sleeping. So
Yeah,
it's like a little baby. All right. Lack of upper body strength or flexibility? Where do you want to go next?
upper body strength.
All right, let's do it. Where do you want to start with it?
This is going to, go back to that exercise and doing, just doing a little bit of something and not being afraid. Ask yourself the question. We go to the washing, okay? Have you got a washing trolley that you push your basket outside with?
No.
Or are you carrying? I know you don't. Or are
Mm.
you carrying your basket?
Yeah.
How many times are you bringing the bags of groceries in? Can you take a few bags at a time?
Yeah.
Or you're only doing one each hand and then going back out?
Mm.
And we lose that strength because we don't use that strength.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely true. So it's a bit of a catch-22. If you're not feeling strong in your upper body strength, then you're going to compromise what you're doing. Whereas what we want to do is dig that little bit deeper and actually do something to help improve, because it's going to feel tough. It's like when, if you go from a 2 kilo weight to, a 4 kilo weight, that's definitely going to feel heavier. That's 2 kilos more. So it's definitely going to feel heavier. And the first time you do it, you probably think, oh, this is pretty tough. But after you've done it a few times, it becomes the new normal for you. So
Yes.
I think the message here is consistency in your strength training for your upper body. Make sure you're hitting that back, the chest. And I suppose we could introduce the concept of mini movements right now as well too. So if you're in the kitchen or you're in the bathroom, do some bench push-ups. That's going to help your upper body strength.
Yeah, definitely. I've got weights right beside me. I could be sitting here just doing some bicep curls while I'm talking to you.
Oh, absolutely. And look, it's one of the things that I mentioned to one of the ladies I was talking to yesterday as well too. I said to her, when I get up, I have my weights and I've got a little routine that I do. So I come up from hammer curls, I go out to, lat raises, I bring them down. So I do those, and then I come up over my head and do, tricep extensions and so I do a few flies as well too, and a couple of rows. So, I just do this little tiny routine, and that just helps me stay stronger in my upper body. But what happens is, if I'm not, because at the moment I'm not working in my office, I'm working in someone else's office. And so I don't have my weights there. And I noticed, my arms don't feel as toned as what they were. That's because I'm not doing it. So consistency is key, isn't it?
Absolutely. And not being afraid to do it. Like you said, you're talking then about, that being afraid to start. You think back to your childhood, and walking.
Yeah.
You learned to walk. You fell over how many times probably while you were learning to walk?
Yeah.
Riding a bike. You know, how many times, I know when my dad taught me how to ride a bike at Kira, and back in those days it was hilly, and I'd ride into a tree and he'd be, you know, get back on that bike, let's go
Yeah,
again, you know.
absolutely.
So never be afraid to start, because you've always started something in your life and you've gotten wonderful at it.
I had a set of grandparents that they were ruthless. I'd ridden the bike so my auntie is my age, right? So I'd ridden her bike, so I was up, they lived up Harvey Bay. And so she was working, so I'd taken her bike and I'd ridden into town to have lunch with her, right? And so on the way back, the chain came off the bike, but there was no toolkit on the bike, so I couldn't fix it. So my grandparents pull up beside me. They must have been in town as well, in the car. And they said, what's happened? The chain came off the bike. Oh, okay. All right. We'll see you at home. You learnt to be tough because, you know, they grew up on a farm. And so,
Yeah.
you know, you had to be resilient type of thing. So, yeah.
Yes.
So here I was dragging that bike all the way home up those hills in Pialba. So yeah, lessons.
Yes.
Wonderful
Definitely.
lessons. And at least I can smile about it now. At the time I was whinging. So, all right. Any final tip on improving strength, Sel? Start. Yeah. Okay. All right. Finally, let's get to flexibility. Look, I think it's just all about stretching your body. So if you're someone who sits a lot, then, you know, stand for a little bit. You know, make yourself a goal that you're going to work for 20 minutes and then you're going to stand for 5 minutes, as an example. You know, making sure that you're stretching out something as simple as, you know, getting your hands on the back of your chair and, you know, just opening up your chest. That's going to help, you know, at least stretch that body out a little bit. And particularly because you're feeling weaker in the upper part of your body, it could be the fact that you might be sitting at a desk. And so there are those little things that you can do.
I mean, you just gave a perfect example when we're talking about upper body strength. You know, your routine when you get up and wake up, and you've got those little weights there. You know, it was forward, opening your arms up, taking it up, taking it down, out to the side.
Yeah,
back.
absolutely.
You know, that was that full whole body flexibility, but you know, by going above your head, behind your head, out to the side, it's always also coming into your core and your lower back.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't necessarily have to do core work or stability work, because it can be very incidentally happening when you're doing your strength work. The same thing can be said for flexibility. So, you know, when I'm lifting those weights, I'm stretching my tendons and ligaments as I'm doing it. So I am actually doing a flexibility session at the same time I'm doing the strength work. And I think that point in itself gets missed a lot, because we think we have to go and do, you know, yoga as an example.
Pilates.
Yeah, or one of those things. And look, there's nothing wrong with any of those modalities. I think they're wonderful. And, you know, I'm qualified in those. But I also think that if I'm going and doing, you know, just yoga or just Pilates, what else is going to give me more bang for my buck as far as being stronger and fitter for life? You know, what are the functional activities that are important to my body? And I'm always, I think it's back to that.
Yeah. And I think it's so important to, when you are doing strength training or any sort of workout, I think it's just so important to connect the dots. So our fitness foundations, for example, you know, we're talking about flexibility at the moment. So you think about a squat.
Mm.
You know, a squat is allowing you, I love to tell women this, we learn to squat so we can use public toilets, you know, but it's think about how your legs are bending, how your hips are bending.
Mm.
You know, a shoulder press, think about what's happening there through your ligaments, your shoulders, your arms, your wrists, you know. And I think it's so important to connect the dots, not just go through the motions and go and say, well, this is strength training because I'm using weights.
No,
But think
that's right.
about it as this is strength training, but the way my body is moving is making me more mobile and more flexible.
Oh, totally. You know, you think about, you need to be able to squat down to pick something up off the ground. You need to be able to hinge forward even to pick something off the ground. You need to be able to then lift that up. So you might need to then put it in an overhead, you know, cabinet type of thing. So you need to be able to lift your arms up to do that as well. So, you know,
my perfect example, I'm going to add on to this. My perfect example is driving. You have to be able to turn and look.
yeah.
And, you know, we see it so many times in supermarket, like in shopping center car parks, you know, this is the turn because
Yeah.
there's no flexibility or mobility, you know, and then it's just reverse straight out and hope for the best.
Well, it's true. It's true.
It
We
is.
actually watched that one day in the park, didn't we? We were up at the park doing something. Yeah. And this woman, she actually had to like turn her whole body to be able to see, you know, so she couldn't turn her neck. So,
No.
you know, there was that limitation as well too. So, but it's so true that we think about exercise, particularly strength work, we think about it as being a chore. You know, we want to go and do the easy stuff. We want to go and do the walking, or, you know, not that yoga is easy, but, you know, do the stretching stuff, you know. But we want to do those things, but we don't necessarily want to do the strength work. But it's the strength work is the thing that's going to help us stay mobile and active for life. So it's so important. We don't have to do fancy exercises. You know, what I just described a minute ago is, you know, I need to squat, I need to deadlift, I need to row, I need to do shoulder presses. You know, so there are so many good practical exercises that all we have to do is focus on them, get really good at doing form and having that mind to muscle connection, and be consistent at it. And that's the thing that's going to mean that we can still do all those things that we love and enjoy in life, no matter what they are.
And your consistency could be, you know, we've been talking as well about, you know, I find it hard to commit to workouts, but your consistency could be, okay, I'm going to do 10 squats, 10 push-ups, 10 push-pulls, 10 deadlifts before I eat my breakfast, 10 rows before I eat my breakfast. Then I'm going to do another set before I have my lunch. Then I'm going to do another set before I have my dinner. You've got 3 sets in.
Yeah. And
over
look,
the day.
Yeah. And that's what happens when, you know, on my Life Happens plan. So I have a series of exercises that I do, you know, the pushing, the pulling, the bending, you know, the rotations. So there is a series of exercises that I specifically have put together that I know my technique is good, that I can do it in a small amount of time, so that if something is going on in my life, I can still do something. Yeah. So, Sal, any final thoughts for this question? Lack of flexibility, weight gain, upper body strength, and tiredness.
As you said at the beginning, find one thing out of those. Is there 4 or 5? 4. Find one thing out of those 4 items that you were struggling with.
Mhm.
Focus on that, and we can guarantee it will spread through the other three.
Yeah.
We can absolutely guarantee it will spread through the other three.
Yeah, absolutely, Sal. I don't really have it.
But commit to it.
Yeah.
There has to be that commitment.
Yeah, just pick that time, you know, so 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is that you can do, commit to it. And yeah, again, we're going to come back to that art of doing. I just practice doing and I do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for joining me, Sal.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us, ladies. We'll see you all soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.